They didn't love you. They studied you. This wasn't affection, it was assignment. Not attraction, but assassination of your spirit. Was it love, or was it a lie wearing a smile? Was it connection, or a contract signed in silence to drain the light God placed inside you? Stay. Because before this scroll closes, you will finally understand why the most charming person in your life was also your most devastating spiritual weapon. What they took, why they targeted you, and the secret reason hell sent them your way. Welcome to Chosen One's Prophecy, where hidden pain becomes holy revelation, and those who were once silenced rise into their calling. In John 10:10, Jesus warned us, "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that they may have life, and have it more abundantly." But what happens when the thief wears a familiar face? Somewhere deep down, you always knew this was more than a bad relationship. It was a setup, a soul entanglement. A battle between your anointing and their emptiness, between your light and their hunger to possess it. And now, the fog is lifting, because what you're about to hear might explain the betrayal that shattered you, the confusion that silenced you, and the exhaustion that nearly ended you. Stay, because the signs that are about to unfold may explain your entire life. Marked by light. Why narcissists target chosen ones. You were chosen, and they knew it before you did. Narcissists are not drawn to weakness. They are magnetized by power they cannot possess, a light they cannot replicate, a purity they cannot corrupt unless they attach to it. Their soul doesn't seek love. It seeks access to the anointing, the glow, the oil that rests upon the life of the chosen. Like Herod sensed the threat in a child not yet walking, the narcissist sees your destiny before you see it yourself. They come not with chains, but with charm. Not with swords, but with smiles. You thought it was connection, but it was consumption. You were marked, and your light revealed their void. And so they did what hell always does when it cannot create. It seeks to consume. Because when you carry heaven's imprint, hell responds with imitation. Joseph wore a coat of favor, but it was his brothers who stripped it from him. Why? Because favor triggers fury in those still in chains. You weren't loved, you were located, and every compliment, every kiss, every apology was part of the map to your soul. But if the enemy studied you, it's only because heaven already chose you. You were targeted because you terrified the darkness, and that terror was your first proof of identity. What else have you mistaken as love? That was really spiritual warfare. The season of psychological fog. The battle didn't begin with bruises. It began with blurring. The chosen one's mind is sacred territory. So the enemy came to confuse your compass. Through gaslighting, guilt, and gentle sabotage, the narcissist rewrote your reality. One lie at a time. You weren't just hurt, you were hacked. They tampered with your memory, planted doubts in your intuition, reversed narratives until you questioned your own discernment. They blurred the mirror of your spirit until the reflection no longer looked like you. And like Eve in the garden, they whispered, "Did God really say?" Until what was clear became cloudy. This wasn't just emotional abuse, it was strategic disorientation, the same tactic used against prophets, pioneers, and deliverers. Elijah, after defeating Jezebel's false prophets, found himself in a cave, not because he was weak, but because the fog had fallen. Even prophets can forget who they are when the fog rolls in. But hear this, the fog is not forever. Clarity always returns to the chosen. And what if the confusion you feel is actually a sign that your clarity terrifies the kingdom of darkness? The forge of pain, sculpted by spiritual warfare. You didn't imagine the pain, but you also didn't realize it was producing something eternal. God did not send the narcissist but he used them, not to destroy you, but to forge you. The betrayal was a furnace, the rejection was a refining fire, and every tear, a drop of holy oil pressed from your calling, like Joseph thrown in the pit, like Job stripped of everything, like Jesus betrayed with a kiss. The chosen ones are always forged in places where pain and purpose collide, because before God sends a voice, he breaks a heart. This pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It wasn't chaos, it was consecration. And now, with ashes still on your shoulders, heaven is shaping a mantle. What if your greatest heartbreak was your burning bush? Darkness, confrontation. Hell knew who you were. From the moment you entered this world, you were watched, not just by angels, but by assassins. The demonic realm does not waste resources. It only attacks what threatens its dominion. So if you faced battles early, betrayals in childhood, attacks that made no sense, it's because your destiny made noise in the spirit realm before you ever spoke a word. Moses was hunted as a baby. Jesus was pursued by a jealous king. David was hated by his own brothers before he held a sword. Hell doesn't fear the ordinary. Hell fears the anointed before they're aware they're anointed. The narcissist was not just emotionally broken. They were spiritually weaponized. A pawn used by shadows to keep you silent, stuck, and shrinking. Because if the enemy could distort your identity, he could delay your assignment. But the truth is, the attacks only proved your anointing. If this resonates, comment 4 right now as a prophetic sign that you are still listening and still rising. The danger of staying silent. Every chosen one will face a crossroad. Speak and risk backlash. Stay silent and risk suffocation. Many remain silent out of shame, out of fear, out of love that was manipulated into submission. But silence is not safety, it is surrender. And heaven did not choose you to cower. You were called to expose, to uproot, to reclaim territory. Every time you excuse what was spiritual abuse, every time you protect the one who drained you, you're burying the trumpet God placed in your lungs. Esther didn't stay silent. She entered the king's court, knowing the risk, because the cost of silence was the extinction of her people. What if your voice is the lifeline for someone else's deliverance? Will you speak, or will you disappear in the fog of your former prison? The moment you remember who you are. Then it happens. The mirror clears, the fog lifts, and something ancient awakens in you. You remember not just what happened to you, but who you were before it. Your eyes shift, your voice steadies, and suddenly, what broke you begins to bow to you, because a chosen one who remembers their identity becomes untouchable. The narcissist's spells lose power. Their shame no longer sticks. Their lies disintegrate in the fire of your remembrance. This is what they feared. The moment you'd wake up and remember that your soul is not for sale. Heaven's assignment was always waiting. Even while you were hurting, heaven was writing. Even while you were breaking, the scroll was still unfolding. Your calling was never canceled. It was hidden for protection. Now that you've seen the truth, now that you've walked through fire, you're ready to carry what was always yours. Like Jesus after the wilderness, you return in power. This pain has become your ordination. This story, your mantle. This war, your anointing oil. You were not disqualified. You were activated. And now, the scroll is open. What will you do with it? The remnant is rising. You are not alone. You are not the only one who has seen the darkness behind the mask. You are not the only one who was drained, silenced, and made to feel small. There is a remnant, scattered, but awakening. Voices rising from caves, warriors emerging from confusion, prophets who once wept, now walking in fire. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You are part of a family, chosen, tried, and now rising. just like Elijah, who thought he was alone. There are 7,000 more who did not bow, and they're waiting for you to step into position. The echo must go out. Your story is not just a memory, it is a megaphone. What you've overcome must echo through broken homes, lost souls, forgotten prophets. This war was never just about you. It was about the generations tied to your voice. The narcissist tried to steal your sound, but heaven preserved it. For such a time as this, now you must speak. Let your story echo. Let your fire spread. Let your healing become a scroll for the next one waking up. Because you are not just healed. You are sent. You thought you were breaking, but heaven was building a warrior in secret. You thought the silence meant you were forgotten, but you were being hidden, wrapped in the folds of God's own timing. Because chosen ones are never sent prematurely. They are refined in the shadows and revealed in divine sequence. This battle was never about what was taken from you. It was about what would awaken in you once everything else was stripped away. You are not who they said you were. You are who God always knew you would become. Tested, tempered, and now ready. You have crossed the threshold. And now the heavens echo with this decree. You have been located. You have been liberated. And now you are being launched. Comment 707. If your spirit felt the confirmation ignite, write what part shattered your silence or spoke directly to your soul. Subscribe and stay aligned with Chosen One's prophecy. This is not just a channel. This is your remnant, your tribe, your next instruction. You are not alone. You are the next echo.